What's up,
Welcome to
gentlemen?
another episode of another Car Channels podcast. And with me, as always, Courtney and Jason. What's up, guys?
Hey, welcome back, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, good time.
Bit of a hiatus. We've been off for a couple of weeks. Uh, but we're
Hiatus,
here.
schmiatus.
They don't care. We're doing our best here. We're just three working class men.
Heard that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Heard
Well,
that.
listen, guys. I'm glad that we got to get together for the latest episode of the pod. Um,
What number is
I
this?
will. I believe 9.
9. Okay, almost to double digits, man.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cheers
it's
to
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah.
Commitment.
So yeah, cheers to that. And today the agenda is a bit, fluid. We're going to talk about a couple of different things. Uh, we have updates on our local track, the firm, and a couple of things that have happened there and how we feel about it. Uh, the ZR1 has gone and set a bunch of track records everywhere.
Mm.
We've spoken to a dealership about an allocation for Courtney and potentially one for myself. And yeah, a lot more. So take it away, guys.
Yeah. Well, let's just dive right in. The firm first or ZR1 first or Z06 first?
Let's talk about the firm, our home track, and how it's
Yeah.
gone
No.
downhill quick.
Yeah, I hear you there. So the TLDR is, and Mario, you know a lot about this, so correct me if I say anything off base, Jason, you as well. But the TLDR is, for those of you who don't know, I'm sure most of you listening have probably been to the firm, heard of the firm, Googled the firm, watched a YouTube video of the firm. Um, it's an interesting, fun local track, right? We enjoy it because of its proximity, but also technical, and it is a lot of fun. Trying to squeeze time out, and it transfers to other tracks too. Well, if you have been there, there is a section where they have some S's, which there's strategies on how to take those. Do you cut them? Do you weave through? Blah, blah, blah. Then a hairpin turn, which is always a good thing to practice. A little straight, and then a banked wall, which is infamous at the firm. And that leads to your straight. And if you hit that right, you can carry a lot of speed down the front straight. Well, it is on airport ground. There was a recent FAA audit. And long story short, that's not a short story anymore, but the S's and the hairpin and the bank turn are no longer in play because that interrupts the potential flight path at the airport. Mario, did I say that all correct?
That was quite correct.
Okay.
Uh, just to add to that, the firm has been running this layout for I believe since the late 90s. I don't
20,
know how
20,
long it's
20
been.
plus years, yeah.
It's been 20 plus years, maybe early 2000s. And from what I understand, they acquired the lease agreement as it was, the current leaseholders. And it carried on, and they just did that audit and just found that out. So unfortunately for the firm and for all of us, they tried some legal ways, they try to extend the firm received a cease and desist to like just shut down the track, period. And they had to go to this alternative layout, which turns the lap, we'll say, from a think anything sub 120 at the firm is a good lap, right? For
No
most
worries.
things. It turned it from that to 40s. Well, depends who it is, but in the 40s, late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah. And what did what
And
did what did you run? A 39
so I
7?
ran a 39.7 in the morning, like when it was cold out. And in the afternoon, when temps were a little bit high, my best time was a 40.9.
And what
And
would
that
and you haven't driven your C8 um
on the
the
full layout
full
now.
layout. But it would be
No.
it would be no doubt sub 120.
Oh, I would have, I believe, and somebody, and I'll get to this in a second. So I sent, I'll talk about it now. I sent Carrie my video of my laps,
Mm-hmm.
and he believes I would have been in the 15s with the C8,
Yeah.
based on what I did. So I think that injunction, because my car has the Pilot Sport tires, and it's an SUV tire, but it works well. It wears well. Um, but yeah. it changes the layout of the track quite a bit, and it's not a fun lap. Now, earlier in the morning when I first got there, I tried to talk them into opening the shoebox down the
Hmm.
straight, and that would have at least added three more corners to add some complexity to the lap. But they say that they have to get everyone to agree to do it, otherwise they don't do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It felt like a silly excuse to me. It would have been more work for them, I guess, because they have to set it up. But I feel like and I guess that actually removes most of the straight. Because let me put it this way: even in that short little layout, I was trapping 115 in the Corvette, without carrying speed from turn eight, like coming out of a hairpin, and I was trapping 115, which was pretty good. Um, the car is amazing. I was very, very happy with the performance. Again, the tires are a little meh, um, but it's definitely not the same track. It feels like a waste of money to pay. How much did we pay for our membership? 2,500. um, to
Hmm.
go do laps that are 40 seconds long.
Right.
At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, you got to get half your money back, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, they took half of the track.
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah, I think there was an executive order about that, right? All racetracks will be cut in half, and then that's kind of what happened, right? Is that
Yeah. Yeah.
ultimately that's ultimately what happened? What a joke! I mean, I can speak for myself and my buddy who tracks there frequently. You know, we spend so much time and we're buying parts and practicing our car to improve at that track, and then for it to just cut in half is just like such a low blow. You know, like I don't have any interest in going there ever again, really. With that, I mean, you're basically just driving around a big parking lot.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think it's a, still, and I hear they're doing things to improve or change it or enhance it. There's been some buzz going around. I don't know exactly what that means, and I also don't know how long that takes. If that, let's say they re go into the trees and repave another section, I don't know where the money's coming from that,
Mhm.
and I don't know how long that takes. Now, again, do I have the cash to repave a mile of track? No, but
You
it
might.
just seems maybe, who knows, man. But it just seems like a lot, and then not going to be quick regardless, right? So yeah, I'm disappointed. I just paid, even when my car's in the shop, and they weren't trying to bait and switch me because I think this thing happened quickly, but I just paid $2,500 with the caveat that, hey, can I activate this when my car's out of the shop? Which I have a quick update um, for that too. But they said, yeah, sure. Just let us know when your car's ready and we'll activate it. So I paid $2,500 on December 29th. And, here I am, like, man, hindsight, I shouldn't have done that because I wouldn't have now. And the extra $250 really wasn't that big of a deal anyway. So,
Well,
Well, they didn't know
let
it
me
was
ask you a
coming, and
question
we
real
didn't
quick.
know it was coming.
Let me ask you a question. When I was in the Pacific Northwest, obviously I was doing a lot of track content, and eventually I got approached by an organization who was building a racetrack, and they basically were looking for investors who would ultimately then get lifetime access. And I think at that time, that funding level, they were asking for 10 or 20 grand or something like that. I was just about to leave, so I wasn't interested. But if the firm came out and was like, hey, we're looking for investors, we got to repave through the forest, blah, 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 for 30 grand, you're going to be a lifetime member. Would either of you guys do that?
a lifetime member.
Yeah, I mean, you just have access whenever you want, because you're investing at the ground level of this new layout.
Something
So,
like that happened here with one of the tracks that they're building, or that they finished building here somewhere. But the money wasn't 30 grand. They wanted like 200 grand for investment, but you would have had that kind of perk.
but
And
wasn't the one in Tampa? Sorry, I'm not going to cut you off all meeting, I promise. But is that the one in Tampa? And didn't that get you, like, you had to invest in like a little condo, right?
no, so this is the one that was gonna be somewhere in Tennessee. I don't know.
Oh,
Relatively
Flat
far, but
Rock.
maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. Love it.
But the one in Tampa, you did have to buy property to get that access, and the cheapest they had was like 1 million. And at the time, I was just like, let me look under the pillow. Nope, nothing there. So I opted to not do that.
But now Courtney Mario would be like, I'll take 2 of them, right?
Right, because
But at that time, it was
At
that
that-
time,
Well,
1
well,
million was too
I no
much.
longer
that
have
time
to pay to
in
fix my
particular.
Ford, so yeah.
But no, Flat Rock is definitely a rich player's private track. They're going, and I follow them on Instagram. Because I was thinking about moving us and our family to Tennessee at one point. I'm like, yeah, I want to be close to this thing because it's legit. They are opening a non-members only club, but yeah, that's the way you got to do it. But regardless, like the general consensus on, like I just did some Googling and I've Googled this plenty before, for 20-foot wide, 1 mile long asphalt driveway will cost about $500,000. That's just a driveway. So for the prep and the extra prep and the extra, hardness or blah, 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 you're $1 million a mile, like minimum. Like I would think probably more than that.
So the firm
And
opens
now-
up some
yeah.
big round of investing. Neither one of you guys are interested in the firm.
I mean, depending on what it, like. So
Let me tell you what, depends on who's interested, right? Like if I'm the most interested person, it's never gonna go anywhere. But if we get enough people behind it, I could join the bandwagon, but I
You
don't
would
want to
jump
lead
in?
the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And just to quickly close this up, like you said, 30 grand, based on what the average annual pass has been, that's a 12-year break even. Let's take in a bet that, hey, I'm going to be right here doing this in 12 years, So
Yeah.
I'd be interested in a lower amount, or getting on their cap table and some sort of ownership, but I don't see that happening. So
Well, my issue would be currently that our membership gives us track days Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then like in this month, they canceled all of the track days on the Saturday this weekend, and I think next weekend. Actually, no, last weekend and this weekend. And so when you ask them about it, they're like, well, track days are like our third source of revenue. The rally and the police training is our actual sources of revenue. So
Yep.
we're not too concerned with what happens to the track, in other words.
Well, I feel
So
like that rally part, that's on that airport side too, right? That must have got shut down.
No, Rally X continues just fine.
Is that right? It looked like
Yeah.
on the map that would have been part of the part that was off limits.
It's literally turn 6, the S's, and the hairpin. That's the problem. So, yeah, I feel for them because it's a good track and it's a cheap track. It's like the only place near us that we could do track days almost every weekend if we wanted to.
Yeah.
And they got a new manager in place who seems to be really trying, and obviously he has to live up to the last manager, who was John, who, again, for good or for bad, I think he did a decent job.
God, he got out at the right time, huh?
But again, I don't know if he knew something like this was coming. I don't speak to them at that level.
Yeah, I don't want to
but
speculate, but I wonder if he saw
but
the
I
writing
do
on the
know
wall.
that. Well, I do know he wanted better for the firm, and he got a bit of pushback, and so he said, like, if we're not gonna get better, what are we doing here? And that might have been the reason why he left. So
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
But I really wish them the best for our sake. I hope it gets better because I love Sebring, I love Homestead, I love Daytona, and I run those tracks several times per year. But obviously the firm was my bread and butter. And for our racing program that we've been trying to get off the ground, it's going to be really hard to test that car anywhere but the firm, and testing in a track that has no challenge to it, no bumps, no nothing. That's not going to be a good way to taste a race car.
Yeah.
Still broke when I took her there the other day in the short layout, but that's a different conversation.
Oh, God,
We'll get to that at the end of the pod. I'll give an update on that. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the firm. I hope that something changes. I don't see it changing before the end of this year, just because, again, if they do miraculously find the money to do something else, that's going to take time.
Yeah, last thing about this firm that kind of pisses me off a little bit is that, Top Gear went out there, they ran that R35 GTR, they did some highlight video or something, and they literally can do whatever they want. And I can almost guarantee that they paid the exact same amount that Courtney paid when Courtney rented the track. But then we go out there and then we can't do whatever we want. We can't shoot rollers out of the back of a truck on the track. We can't run the track backwards. Like, I don't understand why we couldn't do whatever the fuck we want when you rented the track, Courtney. Sorry. But Top Gear can, and I guarantee they paid the same amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can think of is insurance, and because if Top Gear has its own insurance, and they were able to cover any sort of
if something goes wrong.
But don't you sign that stuff away when you enter the park? Your kind of liability waiver or whatever. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Anyways, it was just annoying.
Yeah.
Well,
no,
also the last thing, as you guys know, Anthony has an event coming up next week. And
poor guy,
they didn't even tell him that they were going to change the layout, and I'm pretty sure they still charge them the same amount of money. So
yeah,
that's going to be and also one thing I forgot to mention, forget about the lap being so short. In a higher horsepower car, you catch traffic so fast that there were so many laps that it would have been a good lap for me, and I had to just back off because there was this race team there that had these 3 Miatas, and I don't know if they were testing drivers, what they were doing, but they weren't very fast. They were quick in the corners. They were running slicks, but down the straight, and they weren't giving point buys. I don't know if they were just upset that you could get around them quickly. But they held me out for like 4 or 5 laps at a time. Like they had to get like black flagged in order to get off the track so that some of us could run.
So what is there now? There's like 7 right-hand turns and 1 left-hand turn. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, basically just turn
like
turn
barely
3.
a left-hand turn.
Barely a left-hand turn. Yeah.
I will say the shoebox is hard to drive. That's a challenge.
I've never done it.
A 90-degree turn full send is, for me, is hard. It's hard to drive.
Yeah.
I've gone off there multiple times during autocross trying to turn that.
No, I think that's the only.
That could be the saving grace
way to save it now, because you're not coming onto the straight fast enough to really get up to speed anyway. So you might as well just add some more technical turns.
What if they open up the ramp? Who's in?
The ramp? Yeah.
Oof.
Mario's car.
I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll send the Rivian over at one time.
Yeah, I was going to say the Rivian maybe.
I will not do that. The Raptor could do it.
Yeah.
Now, okay, Corvette. Mario, your Corvette talk a little Corvette. It was in the shop. What happened?
So, I lost all my even number gears. So I lost 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th. And so I only had 1st, 3rd, and 5th.
Now, was this the day after I drove your car?
The following week, yeah. So you drove my car on a Saturday, and then the Monday it happened.
God, yeah, I didn't really notice anything crazy with the car. It must have just kind of popped up, huh?
So no, I drove it to Tampa that morning. It was perfect, and then I was leaving the office, and I literally I remote started the car, got in the car, put my back down. The car was warm because I remote started it. I made a left out of the office and a right onto the next road. And when I stopped at the next light, it went from 3rd to 1st, and like it just clunked forward. And I was like, that was weird. And then I took off at the light, and it went from 1st to 3rd. I pulled into somebody's driveway, and I lost basically all drive. And then I started getting messages like clutch problem, C dealership. And so I shut it off multiple times. I couldn't get the car to move.
And there's 1,500 miles on the car at this time?
At that time, there was around 1,500 because, when I got to the firm, it was like 1,400, and then plus that drive to Tampa. And then it all came back, but I called my dealer, and I was like, WTF. They're like, drop it off in the morning. We'll take a look. There was a code for the 2nd clutch slipping, which at the time I learned that just basically means it's going to need a transmission. So on my Uber back from Tampa to Orlando, I sent an email to my GM contact, a very long, very angry email. They called me in the morning, and they said, we're going to take care of it. If you make payments while the car's down, we'll pay them. We're going to pay for that Uber that you paid, which was almost $200. any loss of time and value, we're gonna take care of you. And I was like, okay. So then the following weekend was the Rolex, and the service manager and my Corvette lead came up to see me at the Rolex. They said, we're gonna do a relearn. There was a service technical bulletin for the code, but it didn't apply to my car, so they were not gonna drain the transmission. And they basically told me to drive it until it breaks. And if it breaks, they'll take care of it then. So then they did my brake flush for free. They gave me a $200 gift card to cover my Uber. They gave me a bunch of Corvette swag, and I picked up the car the following Friday, and then the following week is when I took it to the track. Now, it'd been perfect until last night. Last night, it slipped again, but it didn't throw any codes, and it only slipped once. I came off the highway and I got on the brakes. It downshifted really funny to first gear, and I was like, that was weird. Like it almost put me through the windshield. That's how hard it downshifted into first gear. And then I took off at the light, and it went first, third, fifth, and I'm like, not again.
As it should,
And
yeah.
then when I stopped at the next light, it was back to normal. So
I guess I misunderstood all these text messages. I thought for some reason you had got a new trans or a new clutch in the car, but they didn't. They just relearned it, changed the
they
fluid, and
relearned
sent
it
you
and
on your way, huh?
sent me on my way
With a gift card.
with a gift card. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, they have no issue replacing the trans. They just basically needed to grenade first
Well,
because of the vendor that they get the transmissions from. The vendor is going to ask for the transmission back and a bunch of stuff. So
just have Zach drive it around the block. It'll blow up.
yeah. Well,
Have Zach work on it.
oof.
I'm just kidding. He doesn't watch this. No one watches this, but that's funny because he blows up. all the
They
time.
watch actually. They
Yeah.
all watch.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I've joined all the Corvette groups, and I'm not the only one with the issue. It's happened to a bunch of people. But while on track, I beat the crap out of the car, and the transmission was amazing, like absolutely amazing. Granted, it was a 40-second lap, so how hard could it really get in 40
Right.
seconds?
Yeah.
But you can make the argument that like all that brake stop, because there's no really much of anything in those 40 seconds.
But that's
But the
just like
shifts were
going back
crisp.
between like second and third, right? The whole track for you, or I mean, really?
Well, down the straight, I got up to 115, so probably fifth gear.
Mm. You launch control on that thing yet, or no?
No,
No.
and I never will.
Why?
I hate like
You
I
don't
just
like?
feel like the stress that he puts in the part. Like I never did it to the Mustang. I never did it to the Type R, and I'll probably never do it to this.
Man, now's the time to do it while you're under warranty. Sometimes I
I mean,
launch
I'm
the
under
Alfa
warranty.
Romeo. It's fun. It's kind of fun.
I'm under warranty for another 5 years, 60,000 miles, so I'm not worried.
Okay.
Now, as I mentioned to you guys via text message, the service interval is what's tricky with this transmission. It needs a new transmission filter at 7,500, and then it needs the fluid change at like 15,000 or something. But Chevy covers the first one for both, so it doesn't cost you anything.
Mm.
And I looked it up, and the procedure is like super easy. So, but while on the Corvette subject, this last week we saw the ZR1 go out there and do amazing things with a bunch of engineers, not even professional drivers. They
Amazing
just literally
things.
said, "Hey, let's take the car to this tracks and be amazing." When that happened, Jason sent us a link. I watched the videos, and in a very arrogant manner, I was like, "Oh, I think I could go quicker." And I watched the videos, and fair play to those guys. They were very good.
Yeah.
Like I said, Road America is a track that I'm pretty good at. So at first I was like, I can probably be really good at Road America. And other than one corner that I felt that I could probably find a tenth or two, those guys were on it. Fair play. Like the balls that he takes and some of the turns, I think they were taking at like just some ungodly speeds, which just shows
hmm
with a pro driver, those cars would be
Oh
crazy.
yeah.
I can't wait for them to drop, Spa or the Nürburgring or
Well, yeah.
just some of the
Throw
other
some
world-renowned tracks and just be fucking amazing.
Yeah, and throw some slicks on it too. You got to remember, like these are 3 or 4 seconds off of a GT3 time with an
That was
amateur
also very
driver
impressive.
with street tires. Like, so basically, I mean, it's faster than a GT4. So we have a GT3 car that you can buy at the dealership. But how much does it cost at the dealership, Mario? So Mario has a guy, the one that. Is that the same guy that went to Rolex with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Called him up. Great dude. What dealership is he at?
He's at Fairman Chevy in Tampa.
Furman Chevy in Tampa.
Now, real quick, before Courtney says this, I just want to preface. Now, Courtney's not some like broke ass guy that's got to have to secure financing through like a 30-year loan. Okay, Courtney could pay for this car. Okay, now go on, Courtney.
I appreciate the assumption there.
Those are different. Those are two different customers.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could very humbly, I could swing a ZR1. However, does it make sense to swing a ZR1? Is another thing. So I talked to this guy. What's his name again? Tommy. My employee, my badass employee is Tommy. So okay, talk to Tommy, and he says, "Hey, yeah, you're Mario's friend." I'm like, Mario. He didn't call you Mario. He might have called you Mario, but he says, "Hey, I could get you on the list, but how quick you get it depends on how much over you want to pay." He's like, these things, or no matter who you know, are going for MSRP, which maybe not. But he's like the top like 5 or 6 guys on the list agreed to go 100K over. He's like, I can guarantee you one if you go 100K over.
Now, guarantee you one when? This year, 2025?
I mean, he didn't say when they're being, like, I know they're being built now.
But like first shipment.
First shipment, yeah. I could get first or second shipment of one for 100K over. So what's the sticker? Like, and you know, like, I wouldn't get the base. I'd option it up a little bit. You know, so we're talking a 240 grand car at 100. That's 340, 350.
No. So yeah, you'd be the three whatever Z model they was 185 plus options. So if you had another 15 in options, you're looking at like 205, 215 plus your 100 grand. So you're looking at about 315.
If I go to Chevrolet right now, Chevrolet.com, build a ZR1, like, I guarantee you'd be 220, 230.
Well, they won't show you the money. They're not showing prices on how much it costs to build. You just see. I guess you can get close knowing, because we know 185 is like the top plus the options, and it shows you the price of the options. But when you build it, it'll say see your dealer. So like they're not showing because they know they're gonna charge over. So
sure.
So, but I talked to Tommy as well, and I talked to Carrie, who's guaranteed one also. I guess he's just super hooked up more than anybody. He's not paying over MSRP. He's getting first round. And I asked him how. I said, "Who's the dealer?" He's like, "It won't help. I got, like, I guess the person he deals with owns multiple GM like dealerships, and so he's basically getting one at employee rate or something. I'm not sure, but he's gonna be one of the first to get it. He was one of the first to get the Z06, and he was one of the first to get a C8, so he's very hooked up. So we'll see one.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that we'll see one. And it's also good to know that they're gonna build a bunch of them. They're not gonna build a low number.
Yeah,
Courtney, did you message my guy? Did he ever write you back?
Yeah, he never got back.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine, man. People are busy. No, yeah. So I'm on Chevrolet.com, and I'm looking, like, if you start with the 3LZ, it doesn't say pricing, but if I want Sebring orange, it's $995 extra. So, and if I want the carbon wheels, 14 grand option. If I want my brake calipers painted orange, that's a $700 option. So, like, I think if I want stripes, $1,200, right? So it tells you you that.
That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
But let's be honest, you're not getting the carbon wheels. You got rid of the carbon wheels out of your Mustang, so it'd be stupid to get those for 14 grand. You're not paying $1,200 for stripes, and I'll pay you calipers for $50. You don't have to pay $700. So there you go.
You're right. I wouldn't do any of that stuff, but I would get the ZR1 carbon fiber aero package, though. You know, I'd probably get their wing on it. That's $8,500. You know, I'd tow hook, probably get the tow hook. You know, so some of those things, like, I'd definitely get. I think most people would get at least 20 grand of upgrades. So there's 205. Maybe I was. Yeah, you're right.
Still 300 grand. You're probably not one to pay 300 grand for a Corvette, right?
No, never.
Yeah.
Like, No.
So let me stop you there because you're associating the name Corvette and you're not looking at what this car is capable of. Now, is it worth 300? Probably not. But if you say once this car beats everything else, it's gonna beat all the GT3 RSs and the GT2 RSs and it's gonna put everything else to shame in cars that cost significantly more. If you remove the Corvette name from it, when you say, would you pay 300 grand for a Corvette? You're not paying 300 grand for the name Corvette. You're paying 300 grand for a car that can do that.
Yeah,
Right.
but
And nothing
the
else can
problem
do
is
that.
so are thousands of other people. You know, you already know people that are getting a ZR1. So it's not like Courtney automatically, boom, he's the fastest one in the circle. We already know 2 or 3 other people that are getting ZR1. So it's
Yeah.
still not that special. It's awesome. Yeah. It's way faster than I'll ever be. It's still a Corvette though. I mean, don't kid yourself.
So here's where I'm at with this is if I'm dropping, and Mario, you're 100% right. I'm not discrediting that. Like, what I said was, hey, Corvette versus the, like, dare we say, supercar, hypercar performance.
Yeah, it's faster
right?
than the Senna. I mean, that's insane.
Right. But but I would buy this as a track car is my thing, right? I'm in the market for a track car. This wouldn't be my daily. I need a back seat with car seats, right? So this wouldn't be my daily. If I'm spending that kind of money, I'm going to go to Race Cars for You and buy a GT3.
Yeah, for 285, you're gonna buy a complete package race car. That's true.
Complete package race car that hypothetically, I mean, with the right driver, will do 3 or 4 seconds faster than the ZR1, right? Because it's of the race, because it's a race car. Race cars should be faster. Like when IMSA put out, it's like, oh, the ZR1 did 122s and the GT3 car did 117. I saw people in the comments, so the race car is faster than the street car. Noted, right? And that's the point, right? If you're
No, that is actually not the point. The point is that this car out of the box is almost as fast. Because again, put the slicks on the ZR1 and you're probably gonna match those times. Because
sure,
a slick tire is 3 to 4 seconds on a racetrack. So that alone tells you that, and those, don't kid yourself, those race cars that they're comparing it to, they're not 200 grand. Those are 800 to $1 million.
yeah,
So what I'm trying to tell you is, if you spend that kind of money, not only you're gonna get GM warranty, you're gonna get all the things that come with a new car, and you're gonna get something out of the box. Hopefully that the transmission holds up, that it's gonna last you for a long time. Versus if you go to a race cars for you car, you buy that, and something breaks, is John gonna fix it? Like that your problems are gonna get really, really big.
yeah.
Now, something happens to the ZR1, you hit the OnStar button, you say, hey, send me a tow truck. My ZR1 just blew up. They'll pick it up in an hour and they'll give it back to you when it's fixed.
Yeah, no,
So
you definitely have a point. You have a
there is a
strong point there.
premium
Mm-hmm.
service that you're getting back. It happened to me. I mean, and mine is a base D51, and they took care of me. They're gonna go the extra mile for the Z06 customers, and they're gonna go the extra mile for the ZR1 customers.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know this, and maybe you guys do, but if someone just goes out on Facebook Marketplace and buys a $70,000 carbon fiber radical, are they just as fast? I mean, are those things, like those little radicals, are they as fast as anything we would buy?
They're pretty quick. So great segue into that, and we'll talk about the radicals in a second. Because I'm actually going to be with the radicals next week in Atlanta. My C8 is going to be the official safety car for a radical race.
Ooh.
But they're quick. But the problem with those cars, just like with anything, is parts. And if it's, then you got to trailer it everywhere. You got to, wait for the distributor to send you parts. You got to know how to work on them. They're quick, but there's more to it than just you drop the coin and you get it.
Yeah.
Like the ones that I'm gonna be with, they're serviced by like specific shops in that area. I think the cars are stored in Atlanta, in a specific shop for the Radicals services all the cars for that particular race series.
I just
So
thought you were dropping a Gixxer 1000 motor in those things and putting them on little slicks, and they were faster than everything. Is that not true?
no,
I mean,
it's not quite that
I
simple.
just look at ring times. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is a Radical SR8 doing a 6:45.
And what's the cost roughly? Just Google the cost real quick. And I'm sure it's a used one. I'm sure it's a 2020 that did it or something.
Price of a Radical
About
SR8
100 grand.
RX can range from, this says 47 to 65, but that seems, here, race cars direct, low hour radical,
Yeah, let's see.
make an offer 60,000. So
60.
sub
So
100.
so
Wow.
what year is the one in the Nürburgring though? Because I'm seeing here a 2013 sold between 65 and 100, a 2006 sold for 72,000, a 2011 sold for 80,000. So again, what you're comparing getting a brand new production model year car to a thing from 2006, like that has been
Yeah, yeah,
beat to
sure.
hell for how long?
Yeah, yeah. No, no, touche, touche. New radical SRA. Let's see what this costs new. Radical sports
Who's
car.
Radical Northwest? I know. Inventory.
Yeah, I mean, long story short,
So like a new
100 grand.
2025 is $149,500. Brand new on Radical's website.
Okay, so the SR8 that did that sub 7, that was 19 years ago. Okay, so you're getting a used one and you're faster, right? For a quarter of the price, potentially.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean,
So again,
if what we're chasing is lap times here,
Right.
there's definitely a cheaper way to get a fast lap.
well, sure. I'm just comparing what you're getting for the value of your money. So,
Mm-hmm.
and again, that one, the one that you see at the Nürburgring, we don't know the specs, we don't know what engine, because all these radicals, they all have different options, different engines, different tires, different brakes. So
Mm-hmm.
like I'd love to know the spec of the one that did. If it's the base spec, like okay, argument, like point taken, like it's impossible to argue.
But it's not a $300,000 radical 20 years ago. I mean, that's probably fair.
That's
Right.
fair. But I'm saying a brand new one today, the equivalent is 150,000
So cheaper
on their
and
website.
faster. Cheaper and faster. And Courtney just wants
Well,
faster. He doesn't
cheaper
want
and
to go to
faster,
Cars
but
and Coffee. He doesn't want to go pick up his McDonald's. It's a track car only, right?
Mm-hmm.
cheaper and faster, but so you have to trailer this everywhere you take it. So you need a tow rig, you need a trailer, you need
Well,
to
he just
service the
keeps
tow
it at the
rig.
track anyways. I mean,
Well, but he's not gonna go back to the firm.
oh, yeah, maybe.
Well, if they build it better like they're talking about. I mean, that's where my car's going to go. Like when I get it back, it's going to go back to the firm. So because I'm
Well,
paying
so
for the
you get your car
garage.
back, you go back to the firm to spend 20 grand on a motor to go parade around in 30 seconds. Like that's
No, but that's where the garage is. So
You're already
um,
committed for this year. I mean, now you
yeah,
got to
I'm
yeah, I
already
use it.
guess so.
committed.
You got to use it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like once prices get close to MSRP, remember when the Z06 came out, people were paying an ungodly amount over MSRP to
Hmm.
get those, and now they're selling them for under MSRP. Um, so I don't know if this year one is gonna get quite to that level, but around MSRP, I think it's an incredible value proposition
Yeah. No, I mean,
compared to
I
everything
do
else for
too.
sale.
I do too. Fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah, I do too.
back at MSRP or close to it. I think it's worth that money.
I would happily pay 20 over for that car.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
that's closer than 100 for damn sure. Well, and the other kicker is when I was talking to Tommy, he said, yeah, and banks won't finance that extra, that premium. He's like, I had people, no matter how much money they made, 805 credit scores, making $1 million a year, the banks aren't going to finance that far over MSRP. It's like, so that you have to pay as a deposit in cash before we submit your order. So that's gonna, like at 100 grand, that's gonna take a lot of people out.
Well, there's just so much money out there. It's crazy. Like, economy is not very good, and there's people who are willing to pay 100 grand for a Corvette, like 100 grand over MSRP. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
it's an
money out there.
investment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
and a good one if you're gonna enjoy it.
yeah. No, I hear you and I get all that, but where's Tommy's dealership at? Is that in Tampa?
Tampa, yeah.
Okay. So he said there's 4 people willing to pay 100K over. He said there's like 20 or 30 on the list. Some of them as low as 25K, right? All the way up to 100K over, right? So there's a range there. There's a lot of people in Tampa. There's a lot of people who would love to have this car. Like, there's not that many people who can afford
Well,
this.
there was 4 people 24 hours after they started taking the deposits. The day you spoke to them was the day they started taking the deposit. So,
Yeah, but those were I hear you, but
I'd love to know what the numbers. Ooh, camera angle change for Jason.
Whoa, you know what? It's kind of kicking me off because I've been here so long. I think I have to rejoin. Wait,
Kicking you off?
I don't know why that happened. I'm getting all these errors and pop-ups. Feedback.
We haven't lost you. You're there.
Huh. Maybe my camera battery died. Everyone just keep talking about Corvettes and going faster.
Well, let's segue to Courtney. Let's get an update on your car because I feel like your car has been broken as long as we've had this podcast,
I think
and
so.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know what happened, what your plan is. I know we're closer, um, and I know that how long you've been waiting for the car is what has you on edge, potentially ready to
Oh,
buy something else.
I'm on edge, all right. Um, no, I just looked. In 2022, there was 75,000 people in Florida that made over $1 million a year. And I think that's where you at least have to be there to afford a $300,000 car, just in my opinion. Okay. Anywho, my car spoke directly to the engine shop RPG Race Engines out of California. They told me back in December that the engine would be done sometime in February. Okay, so I called them February 1st or 2nd and asked them. I said, "Hey, can I get an update?" Let's see if Jason rejoins.
We'll give Jason a second. In the meantime, while Jason rejoins, the we'll pause your story for a second. Let's touch back on something about the firm. No, there he is. Good, he wasn't gone for long.
Welcome back.
Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, I think I was in the room too long, and maybe there's a time limit or something.
No, we've
Weird.
gone We've gone way longer than this. So
Yeah, but I was sitting in the room, Mario, before you were even here.
Oh wow.
well, blame Courtney. Anyway,
We're here.
finish your story.
Yeah. So they said it would be done at the end of. They said it would be done in February, right? So I called them February 1st and said, "Hey, me again." I said, "How's it going?" They said that it's progressing well, and the timeline is still the in February timeline is still active, and they should have it done by the end of the month. And I said, "Can you just promise me, just be real with me, and if it's going to be April, just tell me." They're like, "No, we're definitely tracking towards the end of the month." Like, she's like, "To prep you for the very worst, it may spill over into the first week of March, but that's the latest that this will be done." And I said, "Okay, cool." So, what I'm going to do is hold out and no brash decisions. I've had some kind of hiccups with the shop it's at, but I'm willing to recognize that not all of that is their fault. First off, some of it might be, but who knows? But I'm willing to just finish this process and see it through. Now, if they get the engine back and it takes forever to get it back installed and back operational, that'll be another issue. But I would think with a crated engine there, put it back in, put the new clutch in. That's like if they want it to be, that's a 2-day job, or 3 day. I mean, I don't. How long does it take to put an engine in, Mario? Not months, right?
Not months.
No, I mean Anthony had the engine out of his car in a day.
Yeah. So hypothetically, when they get it back, they should be able to have it done within I would think a week, to be completely honest with you. So that's going to be my expectation, just because like I haven't driven my car since August, which is a very long time. So that's kind of where my car's at. So um, a month from now, if I don't have my car, or it's not about done 1 month from today, there's going to be some pretty tough conversations with a couple people. So that's where I'm at.
Now, I know you've already covered this, but just remind me. Okay, I have a bad memory. Okay, so when you get this fully built race engine back, and it's in your car. In that moment, do you expect it to be faster than the stock one, or do you still going to have to do other things, tune it, blah 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 blah? What just putting the motor in, is the car going to be faster?
They're increasing, compression will increase a little bit. So Mario, you tell me if that makes it faster or not.
Hypothetically, should make more power.
Yeah, so compression will be up. Also, at the same time, we're doing headers and a tune. So that doing some suspensions, blah blah blah. But anywho, the engine itself, hypothetically, a little bit faster. The other upgrades I'm buttoning onto it should make it quite a bit faster. You know, again, targeting low to mid fives wheel horsepower.
And the shop that the engine is at now, do they like run the thing on a dyno, like an open? Will they run the engine at all, or the first time it will ever crank in its life is after it's in your car?
I'm not sure on that. They do have a dyno.
Nah, they wouldn't have an engine dyno.
They won't do that.
Oh, no engine dyno. It's a car dyno.
I see.
However,
and then
I would.
Sorry. Then the place that's doing that's actually going to be installing the engine, there's a dyno there.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at an engine shop for many years, and we didn't have an engine dyno.
No, I'm not talking about the engine dyno. Just like a normal in the ground. Your car will be on the dyno before you get it. Is that right?
Right.
Well, no, they're not gonna dyno it before you break in the motor.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Is like,
well, they're not going to tune it first either, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume not. I would assume they're gonna give it back to me with new, because I'm gonna have a new clutch too. So new engine, new clutch. Say, hey, bring it back in 500 miles or whatever, and
so it might run kind of weird, right? You got the new motor, higher compression. You're gonna have headers on it, probably no cats, blah 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 blah. The factory ECU probably isn't gonna really know what's going on until you tune the car. Is that
yeah? So you're gonna have to flash. You're gonna have to flash the motor to, or you're gonna have to flash the ECU with a base map that accommodates for at least like for those modifications at a base number.
Mm-hmm.
So you could load a tune from a Mustang like his that already ran a bigger throttle body and the headers and et cetera, et cetera. And then when you tune it, you street tune it or you dyno tune it, you're looking for like dialed into that car. But so like when you buy a tune online for a car, the tuners, he asks, give me your mods. And he's done an engine, he's done a tune for those mods 100 times. So it's gonna be really, really close. And then they'll tell you, go on the street, do a third or fourth gear pull, send me the logs, and then he'll tweak the tune to your logs. You do it 3 more times, your car's street tuned.
Right, but on the 350, you're not just plugging in a Cobb access port and uploading the base map, right? I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than that, right?
I never tune my car. I know what it takes to tune these cars.
Yeah, I don't know. Is the shop that your car's at now, Courtney, they're the ones that are going to tune it?
I think not. So. Like, maybe they may. We haven't got that far yet, so that's what I sent him an email saying, hey, I'm going to come by the shop Thursday, drop a couple things off, and have a chat with you about kind of next steps, because we need to figure next steps out.
Yeah. That's exciting. I was just trying to get a picture of what to expect when you just say you get it back next month. It's probably still another month or so to get the miles on it, get the new tune, get everything dialed in before you're like really beating on the car, probably.
Yeah, no, it'll like there's a mid-April track day at Roebling Road Raceway in Savannah. John and I love that track. Mario, I'm going to drag you to it. It's a lot of fun, and that'll be a good track day to break it in. So that's what I'm targeting. Hopefully mid April
Cool.
is really kind of my get back on the road, and then it'll be fucking hot again, and it'll be midsummer, and won't get to do fast lap times in the cool air until hopefully a year next fall.
Hey, I just thought of this. At least at the firm, you'll be sub 113.
That's true. I'll beat that time.
We all
Yeah.
are. Yeah.
I was really, I think in cool temps, especially now with a little more power and a little better suspension upgrades. That car has a 113 in it, but maybe
Oh,
I'll
for sure.
never, at least, yeah. But maybe we'll never know.
Yeah. Now, while we were on the Corvette subject, I forgot, Jason, you had put in an offer on a Z06. What happened with that?
Yeah, I've put in multiple offers on Z06s. So, okay, so I drove yours. Your car was fine. It was a great car. It's not that special feeling, right? It's kind of got that deep throaty V8 and blah, blah, whatever. If I buy one, I'm buying the Z06. So I made an offer on the
Shots
yellow
fired.
car down by you. No, not in a bad way. It's a really great car. The C8 is a great car. I just don't want it. The yellow full carbon car. I made an offer on that car. They didn't take it. Whatever. That's fine. They sold it. So there's another one. Now, I think I'm going to go drive one tomorrow. A Z06, a base model, not a Z07 car.
Aren't you moving to Italy?
Let's just one thing at a time. So I think I'm gonna go drive one tomorrow to see if it has that like real special, exciting characteristic that I want in a car. And so there's another one. I think it's in a city I don't recognize, but it's in this state. It's an orange car. What's cool about this one is it's a 1LZ base model car with carbon wheels, Z07 package, carbon ceramics, full aero, but there's nothing else on the car. It's base. And that kind of excites me. The price is pretty low. It's just over, I think it's like a 112 or something like that.
Well, that's a great price.
Now, it's only got like 1,000 miles. What's crazy, and I don't know if I could fully live with this. Let me get your opinion. It's got full carbon wheels, full carbon aero, but they're factory painted. I don't know who would option that, but is that just really dumb? Would you guys ever option full carbon and then have the dealership paint it black?
I would never do that. But for the price that you're getting it at, I would look the other way.
Well, maybe we'll see. I think I'm gonna drive the one tomorrow. See what I think. No promises, whatever. But I did.
Are you saying that if it feels significantly better than my car, then that's my car is gonna be I don't want to say the measuring stick, but it has to be significantly better than my car for you to be like, okay, yeah, this is definitely an upgrade.
I don't want to say better. I just want to say like more, like cooler and more exciting to drive. And I'm sure that the engine is going to do it. The sound and the way that it revs. I don't want to say better because I do think the C8 checks 99 boxes for most people. I really do. I think it's great. Does it have that like it factor? You know what I mean? That's kind of what I want to know from the Z06. Both of these two cars here, they do. They're both slow. You know what I mean? They're both very slow, but they're both very fun and exciting, and they have that special little quality. The GT350R, I think that has it too. And it's just because of the engine. The C8 with just this push rod, we've all kind of been there. We've all heard those motors before. We've experienced that type. It's a great car. I just want something more special if I'm going to move from these cars. So I sort of floated an offer to the orange car. I said, hey, I'm going to go drive this thing. Let me see how I feel. This is kind of where I'm at. I get a cash offer with these cars. They've got the VINs. They've ran the miles. They've already blah, 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 blah. We'll see. I'm not promising.
Are you close? Are you close with what they're giving you?
Yeah, I mean, this one's a little cheaper than that yellow car that I made the offer on. The problem is that no one has sold a 4C before, and so they have a hard time comping this car.
Yeah.
And this one went back and forth. Hey, we don't really know what to do with this car. We're looking for a buyer. Whatever the fuck that means,
Right.
But I told
crazy.
him I gave him a cash number
it
with
would move.
these two cars. and let me drive the one tomorrow, and then see how I feel. But yes, Courtney, I'm moving and blah blah. There's even question what the fuck am I doing anyways with any car, But we'll see. I do think that the Z06 potentially could check all the boxes.
Yeah.
I do. I think it's possible.
But would you say that having like driving my car made you say like, okay, this plus that exciting factor would make me want to do it?
I don't know. I honestly I don't know. I'm used to these small little cars, and so like your car with the big door that was like kind of hard to close, the start stop button didn't feel that cool or fun to press. Like on your car, on all the C8s, I know it's stupid, but maybe it was cool and it was fun to drive. It just wasn't that exciting. I think that the Z06 will do it, and I don't know if you feel that way. Do you feel like it might be faster than the R? Maybe not. But is it more exciting to drive than the R was? You think?
It has there are things about the R that were more exciting, but there are things about this car that are more exciting. Now, the C8 is faster, with me driving it. So, like I said during like the one text I sent you, it took me a little bit to get like, okay, I'm close to the limit in the R, and I did, in my opinion, very good lap times at every track I went to. But within a session in the C8, I'm like, I could send this to the moon and not feel in danger in any way or form. Now it's very under stereo alignment out of the factory, and you can tune that out. But like I've driven almost 30% of the miles that I drove in the C8 in 2 months, and I had the R for 2 years. So I love driving the C8 much more than I did the R. I hated driving
it's
the R on the
probably a
street.
more practical car, but I mean, even what you just said, I could send this thing to the moon and not even worry about when I'm thinking about it like an exciting little track car. I kind of don't want something that like is just does everything nice and easy and it doesn't evoke any emotion. You know what I mean? When you are driving it or sending it to the moon, I kind of want it to feel on the limit, so I don't want a boring fast car. I'd rather have an exciting slow car.
But Mario says it's a death trap.
God, dude, I was driving back from Tampa yesterday. I saw an ACR driving the other way, a Gen 5 ACR. I was driving the government van, it just brought me so much joy just seeing this thing come on the freeway. I was like, God, what a fucking car,
I've only ever driven a first gen Viper, and
the first gens suck. The second gens are okay. I've been on track in a Gen 5, and they're no joke. I mean, they're no joke.
the one that I drove, I heard a great quote, like it drove like I slapped his kids and I shagged his wife. Like that's how bad it wanted to kill me.
Yeah.
So
no, sounds fun. Get us a racing seat, get a 6-point, get a Hans, get a cage. You'll be all right.
I'm happy with this. Yeah, but I do think there's a Z06 in my future. Like I definitely know that exciting factors Jason is referencing, and I want it, but I want to enjoy this car for a year and a half.
Well, so Jason's moving to Italy in a year and a half. So
maybe I'll buy another one of his cars.
Buy another one of his cars. Yeah,
we'll have a go at it. Yeah.
Do you like the color orange? Let me just ask you that.
I love orange. Orange is my favorite color.
We'll see. No promises. I think I'm gonna drive one tomorrow though. They got one at the Porsche dealership that I have some rapport with because that's I almost sold my car to that football player. Blah blah blah. I don't know if you guys remember that, but anyway.
All right, guys, we're getting close to an hour here, and before we wrap, is there anything else we want to cover? Did we leave anything out?
Are you talking Porsche Jacksonville?
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's white, bro.
Yeah, it is white. And it's a 1LZ. Yeah. I think what do they have at 112?
Yeah, 112.9.
Yeah, and it's don't get me wrong, I'm not going to buy a car that's not a Z07 car. I'm not going to buy it. But I think I'll get an idea of the engine and how it sounds, how it feels from driving the base model. You want to go with me, Courtney?
What's that? What? No, I'm too busy.
Have you ever driven a car with carbon ceramics before?
I don't think so. No. What should I look out for? I'm just gonna be able to drive on the street. What do you mean?
No, just the first
I
time you
think
put your foot on the pedal, be ready to like the recoil from going forward. It
There's a
stops.
lot more bite in
Oh
the
my
carbon
God, yeah.
ceramics?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the first one I ever drove was an Audi R8 with carbon ceramics.
Mm.
And the owner was like, he tried to warn me. He's like, it doesn't matter how much you brace for it. It's gonna like, and the brakes were cold. It didn't matter. I was coming up to a stop sign. I put my foot like, you don't really stop that hard before a stop sign, and you're gonna be worried about getting rear-ended because the car behind you doesn't expect to stop that quick
Mm.
until you learn that
Wow.
feathering of the pedal. So just keep that in mind.
Courtney, you ever driven on ceramic brakes?
I have not. I've not.
Didn't Anthony put some on his GT350 for a little while?
Yeah, didn't they like blow up?
I think they did.
Yeah, his were allegedly prototypes, I believe. He was testing something for somebody, and
Oh,
Hmm.
yeah.
and a factory carbon ceramic is way different than like, hey,
I'm
these.
sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it'll be fine. I'm
but
not gonna
let us.
full send the car on test drive.
Pussy.
Why not?
Well, I'm gonna drive it.
Enjoy
we'll see
it.
what the vibe is. Yeah. We'll see what the vibe.
Oh, Jason, while I have you here, are you good for Saturday, the 22nd?
I think so.
All right.
So. Yeah, I'm ready for you, man. I'm ready.
I believe I'll be at the firm that day, Saturday the 22nd.
And the half firm.
At the firm. No, it's not the
That's
firm.
right.
It's the firm.
The phi. At the phi.
The
Oh,
pie.
that's
Yeah.
fine.
All right,
That's
this was
fine.
our best episode ever, for sure.
I think
This
so.
was our
So
best
maybe
one.
we'll get up to like 40 people watching.
That would be nice. 40 people. Leave a like,
Man,
leave a comment. Yeah.
It might
Like
surprise
and
you guys. All
subscribe.
right, my dudes.
Bye-bye now.
To everybody watching, please like, please subscribe. Peace.
Nobody's still watching this shit, bro. Bye-bye.
Bye.